I think the impulse to make objects is something that's it's kind of a deeply inherited biological impulse, and it's rooted in the body. The use of my own figure in my work started a little over 10 years ago. For me, it's always been about just using my body as this thing. It's just a tool, it's a raw material. When I first decided that I wanted to create a complete virtual model of myself, I went online and I started searching around, and I realized there were basically two places that one could go to find a full body scanner. And one was Hollywood, and the other one was basically the military industrial complex. And Hollywood was really too expensive, so I went the military route. At that time, I also had to agree to participate in a military experiment that was going on. I had to go through this whole traditional program, anthropometry measurement program, and they measured every single square inch of my body using calipers in this sort of traditional method. It seemed very science fiction. We're talking about maybe 10 years ago, 12 years ago. So a lot has happened. A lot of people think that it's just kind of press a button and out spits the sculpture, but it couldn't be anything. It couldn't be anything further from that. There are all of these steps. Using the technology, or kind of misusing the technology in the beginning, is just a way of like capturing a form. It's almost like it's really like photography. It's like a 3D form of photography. And I think that, like, you know, people were reluctant to accept photography for so many years as an art form. And the same thing goes with digital. There's just kind of deep, you know, resistance to the idea that a digitally sourced thing can be an art piece. In 2008, I made a series of large-scale figurative sculptures that dealt with a distortion of the body on a single axis. For the piece that's in the MAD show in 2008, I did a more radical distortion of the form by using a software that passes kind of like a wave effect through the 3D object, but again on a single axis. So seen from 2 points of view, the thing looks like it's dematerializing into a reflection or something like that. And then on the other axis, looking at it, the silhouette looks normal. I started making in 2009 a series of pieces based on my head. I had a kind of a gorgeous 3D enlargement in a high-density foam that I had used to make the mold for one of these larger head sculptures. And that foam thing in and of itself was really quite interesting as an object, and everybody was coming over to the studio and saying, oh, you got to do something with that. And so I decided one day that I would brush a coat of rubber over the thing and turn it into something, which I did. And it didn't work. It was silly looking. So I thought, oh, now I've got to like get this stuff off of here. And I thought I was going to be peeling it off for a day. And I went and I just kind of like made an incision from the top of the head to the bottom and just peeled this rubber skin off of the thing in one motion, in one piece. I immediately took that kind of peeled off skin and attach it to the wall was the first thing that I thought to do. It was a complete accident, but it really was exciting. And that's the kind of thing that happens in the studio sometimes, rarely, when just in the midst of really making mistakes that you discover something that then opens up this whole other possibility. So there were so many things that it was doing that I wanted my work to do. What I did was I was able to suspend one of these hanging rubber pieces from a tripod, and then I was able to 3D scan the rubber form, which was difficult because the form wants to move. You know, anytime anybody walks around in the room or opens a door, the whole thing shakes and the scan has to be started over again. So we used a hand scanner, and we were able to scan the thing and capture it as a 3D model. And then I enlarged it to 15 feet and milled it out of foam. And then it was molded and cast in aluminum. It has this relationship to the archaic head, but it's also this soft, sagging form. It's sort of sad, in a way. It's a sad monument.
That's pretty good.